Dear learners, welcome to NIOS. The subject today is Home Science, lesson number 7. The title is Purchase and Storage of Food. We all need food for necessity. We buy the food from different places, and after buying the food, we have to store it in the right conditions, be it in the refrigerator or shelves, etc. We will discuss in depth about this. Before starting the chapter, let's discuss some difficult words in Indian Sign Language. Purchasing. The word means to buy. Something that we buy, be it clothes, food, stationery, etc. Cheap. Something that is of a lesser value. Like a pen of 5 rupees, it's cheap. Expensive. Something that is of a higher cost. Maybe an ink pen would be of 20 rupees, so expensive. Foodstuff. Different kinds of fruits and vegetables, chicken, meat, etc. in the food. Smelling. The odor that we are able to inhale from our nose, as you can see in the picture. Indicator. A meter of a specific kind, sometimes to measure height or to measure the quality, take feedback, different kinds of indicators of specific kind. Room temperature. The temperature of a room, the comfortable temperature. Let me explain how. For example, when it's windy and it's cold, the room also gets cold a little. So heater helps us in maintaining the room temperature, the normal temperature that is suitable for our body. Or when it's too hot and we are sweating, we turn on the AC. It provides the right kind of room temperature that we need, that suits our bodily needs. So that is room temperature. Curdle. Spread it into curds. For example, the milk, it curdles and becomes into curd. We have to put in a little curd inside a bowl of milk and it turns into curds. So the process is curdle. Ferments. Undergoes fermentation. For example, pickle undergoes fermentation when it is converted from a mango to a pickle. The mangoes are cut, then they are kept in the sun, then they become ripe, then the masala, the oils are added, everything is added and it ferments and then becomes achar. So that is ferments. Or wine is made out of grapes. The grapes are fermented. They are dried and the process is followed, sugar is added, everything is added into it and then it becomes the wine. So, the grapes ferment. Let's begin the chapter, part 1. We buy food or grow at home. All of us have food at home. We have to purchase it. We intake food every now and then as per required, and to intake that kind of a food we have to purchase it from the market or we have to grow it at home naturally. For example, sometimes people grow fruits at home, vegetables at home. It can be done both ways, whatever it's convenient to buy or grow. Whenever we go to a market to purchase food, we match it to the needs of what is needed in the house. We buy something that's of a range that we can afford, whatever is of a cheaper value and of a better quality. That is what we do. And when we purchase food, we have to remember that it doesn't spoil. Hence, in order to avoid it from spoiling, we have to store it properly. The term perishable is used in the context of food that goes bad quickly. Specifically in the hot temperature, it turns into curds due to the organisms, microorganisms present in the atmosphere, whereas apple, potatoes, they don't go bad that quickly compared to milk. It could be a week or two. They can sustain longer, but whereas when it comes to pulses, rice, etc., they can be kept for months. They don't get damaged for months. So hence, every kind of food has different kind of storage necessities. I will talk in depth about it. Now let's classify the food on the basis of perishability. Let me explain the three classifications. First is perishable food that goes bad quickly. Second is semi-perishable food that takes a little longer time compared to the perishable food in going bad. Non-perishable foods are longer in terms of going bad. First category, let's discuss perishable foods. Perishable foods, the milk is the best example for perishable food. If it is kept for 1 or 2 days at the room temperature, it cannot be sustained. It has to be kept in the refrigerator. So, in order to protect it from going bad, it can stay for only a limited amount of period, like 1 to 2 days. Second category is semi-perishable foods. There's potato, there's ginger, there's pyaz, onion, arbi, biscuits, namkeens, etc. are semi-perishable food. They can be kept for 1 to 2 months. You may have noticed when you are having namkeen, it becomes soggy sometimes because of the air. So it has to be kept in airtight containers. The third category is non-perishable food that can be stored for a longer period of time compared to perishables and semi-perishables like cereals, pulses, dry fruits, spices, oils, etc. So these don't go bad that quickly. These have to be kept in the airtight containers and not in the packets in order to protect it from the rodents and the insects. The containers have to be dry. Then it can stay for longer. Let's discuss quality indicators while purchasing the food that we have to remember. Whenever we go to a store to buy vegetables or we buy from the vendors, just remember to check that the food is fresh or not. Remember, in the process of selection, you are looking for certain qualities and you find that in the product you want to buy. So, freshness is mandatory. Second thing is the product should have natural color, be it the apple is red, mango is yellow, onions are pink. But sometimes we see that the color of the product is not looking fine. Sometimes the apple is too red. We can see that maybe it has been injected. Or mango is too green. That means that it's still ripe and we still can't have it. So go on the natural colors of the food when you are buying the product. Whenever you're buying the product, remember to smell the product. Remember that it's smelling fresh and it's not rotten, and then buy it. Remember to clean. Remember to clean every product that you've bought so that it doesn't pass on any infection in your body. So remember to clean. Remember that the green leafy vegetables, they are green, but you have to remember that they're not brown or they're not unfresh. Remember that they're fresh and they're crisp. When you're buying paneer, remember to check that the paneer is soft and is looking fresh, it's smelling nice. Sometimes paneer also goes bad, that means the paneer is not fresh. The bread, it needs to be spongy and soft. It has to be easily spongy and soft, that means it's fresh. The process of purchasing the food involves selection and after the purchase, storage of the food. Right? The food that we purchase could also spoil if it is not stored properly. So whenever we've bought or purchased a food, we have to be quite mindful that we are storing it well, be it in the shelves, in the airtight containers or in the refrigerator. There's a waste of effort, there's a waste of money and the waste of food if it is not stored well. So we have to be quite careful and mindful. We should remember what kind of food needs what kind of storage. Let me give a few examples. Be it namkeen, biscuits, etc. These need to be in airtight containers. If they are not in airtight containers, they become soggy and they don't remain as fresh and tasty as they are. Similarly for namkeen also, it becomes soggy and inedible. For dal, rice, atta, etc., they give us in packets. So remember to take them out of the paper bags or packets and put them in the containers. If they are still in the paper bags or packets, rodents and insects can come and they can spoil it. So hence we have to be, and it can go bad. So remember to always put it in the containers so that rodents and insects can't reach it. So let's learn the selection, purchase and storage of food. The first type is non-perishable foods that take long time to go bad, that don't go bad for a very long time. Remember the word? So the name of the food, let's discuss. We have to remember the selection process, be it of pulses, wheat and rice. We have to see that it is clean and there's no stones in the food while selecting the product. Second thing, we have to remember that it does not have any insects or rodents or lumps, or for that matter webs. The third thing we have to remember that, for example, for rice, it is big, hard and dry, not broken. We have to remember that. The fourth thing that we have to remember is the proper color and appearance of the food. We have to see that, for example, for rice, it's clean and white. So these are the processes you have to remember for selection. So while purchasing the food, remember that you're buying it from cooperatives that, can be cheaper and reliable. Someone you know well and you've been buying from, it's cheap and reliable. So buy from that store. Second thing that you have to remember is buy when it is a season. For example, for wheat, you can specifically buy in the time of April. April is a good time to buy wheat since it's fresh at that time. Every year, April is a good time to buy wheat. Remember that. The third thing is only buy the product in bulk if you have storage space at home. So know the storage space of your house. Don't overbuy things and then you don't have storage, it will go bad. So buy it according to the storage. Once you have purchased, remember the storage process. Store it in a clean, dry place. Don't leave it here and there. Be it rice, dal, pulses, etc. They should be kept in airtight containers. Remember that the container is completely dry. It doesn't have any moisture in it so that it can stay for a longer period of time. Secondly, remember in wheat you can mix some clean dry neem leaves. It can stay for longer. And third is Ayurvedic tablets. You can use Ayurvedic tablets. Let me tell you how. In a muslin cloth, just put some Ayurvedic tablets and wrap them, make a ball and keep them in the wheat, any container where you're keeping wheat, so that it helps in keeping the food for a longer time. And when you're starting to cook, remove the muslin cloth that has Ayurvedic tablets. Remember this process. Now let's discuss the selection, purchase and storage process for semi-perishable foods. the semi-perishable foods that take some time in going bad. The foods that we will be discussing is suji, maida, dalia and spices. So when you are buying it, during the selection process, remember that they don't have lumps and weevils. Remember that it's good powdered. Second thing, remember that the proper color is there. Sometimes, you know, the spices can be of different colors, so buy of the right color and the right flavor. Third thing, remember that it's goodly, finely powdered. The spices are finely powdered. And the last thing is always check the packets for standardization mark. Remember this while selection. During purchase, always check the standardization mark on the packet and also the recent date of packaging. Remember that, and it should be bought in limited quantities. It should be well sealed. For suji, maida, etc., once you have bought it, for storage, for suji you can actually dry roast it. Its natural color is off-white. In order to keep it fresh for a long time, just roast it in a pan without adding any oil or water. Just roast it a little and then put it in the airtight container. It can stay for a longer period of time then. For fruits and vegetables, the process of storage, let me tell you what's the best process for storage. Keep them in cool and dry place. Best to keep them in refrigerator. For lemons, you can coat them in oil and then you can put them in fridge so that they have a longer life. It's good to coat the lemons in oil and then keep it in the fridge. Any fruits and vegetables that you are buying, don't immediately wash them and keep in the fridge. Just directly keep them in the refrigerator. Wash them only when you are eating, because its value is lost. Natural value is lost when you wash it. So just wash it immediately before eating it and then eat the fruit or vegetable. For vegetables like cauliflower and radish, you can keep their leaves, the natural leaves that they have. Don't throw them away and keep it in the refrigerator. Just keep them with the leaves so that its freshness is completely maintained. When you're just starting to cook, then you can remove the leaves. Food spoilage. What are the causes and hazards? For our body, sometimes we go sick because of food spoilage. Let's discuss how. The first reason is microorganisms. This means that the organisms that are present in the atmosphere, be it the bacteria, etc., they are so micro that we can't see them. So whenever a food item is kept outside, microorganism, they get inside that food, on the outer layer of that food, and spoil the food. So these microorganisms do that. For example, milk, if it is kept at the room temperature, these microorganisms affect the food and it turns into dahi also, into curd, it curdles. Be it cake, biscuits, etc., when they are kept on the room temperature, because of microorganisms, they go bad. But there are some positives also of the microorganisms. For example, milk turns into curd, that's a good thing. Or for making dhokla, we need those kind of microorganisms to make it spongy. For the dhokla batter to become a little fermented, these bacteria help. The dosa, for the dosa we need a little sour taste. So this bacteria that's present in the atmosphere is good. For idli also this is good. So microorganisms are not all bad, but they do rot the food sometimes. Bread is spongy because of the microorganisms that come in from the atmosphere. We can't see these microorganisms, but they are both good and bad for the food. The second is enzymes. These enzymes are chemicals that are already present in food, be it in mango, vegetables, etc. These natural chemicals that are only present in food. Let's give me an example. Let me give you an example. Buy a green mango. After a few days, you will see that the mango has turned yellow. And after few days, when it has turned yellow, it will turn brown also. Whereas when you keep this mango in the refrigerator, enzymes get a little more time to secrete. So, because of the cold weather inside the refrigerator. Remember this. The third is insects and rodents. Be it rice, dal, etc. Sometimes you see that the insects are there naturally. Maybe we don't see it and later on we find out that there were insects in the food. It can cause a really hazardous effect on our health because we don't know that what kind of insects are there in the food. It can cause diarrhea, it can cause stomach aches, etc. These little rodents even leave their excreta sometimes and it is bad for our health. So these cause vomiting, diarrhea, etc. So we have to be careful while purchasing and storing of the rice and dals. Now let's discuss some good habits while purchasing and storage of the food. So while tasting, use a separate spoon when you are tasting a pickle, etc. Don't leave it inside the spoon, inside the jar. Keep it outside. The spoon that you have used, its moisture can make the pickle go bad. So remember, whenever you are using a spoon to you put it in the plate, always remove the spoon and keep using new spoons every day. And don't put an already used spoon inside the jar. Keep the perishable foods in cool and dry place or in refrigerator always. When you know that there is a particular perishable food which will go bad immediately, always finish it at the earliest. Use them, feed them to your family members, just use fresh foods every day. Always keep your kitchen and storage facilities clean. Keep it clean, the gas, the boxes, etc. so that it can protect you from any kind of diseases. Always use clean utensils for eating food. Don't keep the utensils unclean for a longer period of time. Just wash the utensils immediately after you have eaten the food. Buy milk, milk products, vegetables, meat products only from reliable sources. Someone you've been always buying from and you know that they sell good quality food. Always ensure the quality of food. Always check the expiry date. Always check the manufacturing date, etc. So remember to always ensure the quality. Thank you.